Okay, Glenn, last time we chatted, it was very difficult for me in the fact that we'd just come off the back of Lords and
Yeah,
it was a humiliating defeat for England. And now I'm here with great pleasure in the fact that the tables have turned once again.
yeah, big
Uh,
time. Yeah.
in a what is been an unpredictable series so far and a great victory for England at Edgbaston. Let's concentrate on the Aussies to start with. You know, looking back at the Edgbaston test, I guess, did you see that coming from the Aussies?
No, after their win at Lords, I thought they're going to be hard to stop. I thought it was a very dominant win in every area, and I thought they'd worked it out. They're playing well. Off they go. Cardiff was just a hiccup, but it wasn't. The only thing I think the Aussies did right at Edgbaston was win the toss.
Yeah.
They batted poorly. Their shot selection was pretty average. There was some good bowling by England. You can't take that away. And when they bowled, the Aussies bowled, I felt they just bowled totally wrong lengths. So, to be honest, there was maybe an odd positive that's come out of the game, but not too many.
And where do you think that comes from? I know England were kind of scratching their heads after Lords as to where that performance came from. And it's almost like now Michael Clarke sort of said similar things to what Alistair Cook said. You know, where was it? You know, complacency? Was it? Did they maybe think after Lords, England were done here, and they kind of went into it with that attitude and then got caught? Can you put your finger on it?
No, I don't think so. There's been a lot made of the wickets, and I think England shot themselves in the foot with the wicket they prepared at Lords. That was a wicket that wasn't your normal English conditions. Whereas the first test in Cardiff, I don't think was too far away from what they wanted. It was just a little bit too slow.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the wicket they produced here at Edgbaston was your normal English wicket. That you've got to hit that length, and it will nip around a bit. There's enough natural variation. So I just think they got the wicket right. They know what wicket they want to prepare now, so they're going to prepare that wicket for the rest of rest of the series here. Australia really need to do a bit of homework and turn things around because they haven't performed well or played well on this style of wicket. When it's flat and the ball wasn't swinging, they can control the game. They've got the pace to do it, the aggression to do it, and the batsman to do it. When it's nipping around like that, if you go hard at the ball or you bowl the wrong lengths, it's you're going to get found out. So Australia have a lot of work to do before this next test.
And kind of moving on to potential changes for Australia, I think one of the things I found most surprising throughout the series has been Josh Hazlewood, who I thought would have a bigger impact. I thought Edgbaston, that wicket would really suit him, and yet he seemed to have struggled a little bit for consistency. And has that surprised you?
A little bit. I think what happened at Edgbaston, we got off to such a bad start. Australia got bowled out for 130 odd. When you come out to bowl, you're sort of caught in between trying to take wickets, and because the other team had bowled out the Australian team, you think, well, I've got to go out there and take wickets, and it's got to be all happening. And when it doesn't, you start looking for wickets. I felt probably over-pitched the ball a little bit, bowled a little bit too full or too short. And on these wickets, your English wickets, if you bowl just that short of a length, hit the deck, it sort of just sits up there. Whereas if you can get that real good length, it's still hitting the deck top of off stump, a little bit fuller to what they bowl in Australia, and just keep it there, maintain the pressure. There's enough natural variation in the wicket. Some would go through, some would seam back, a little bit of swing. On a wicket like that, you have to do less. And I just think because Australia only had 136 on the board, the Australian bowlers, and especially someone like Josh, went looking for wickets. If he just stayed there, just bowled that same length, ball after ball, top of off stump, just outside, he would have done well. And that's how you build up pressure, take wickets, and that's what Australia didn't do. And if Australia put a better score on the wicket on the board to start with, it would have allowed the bowlers to get in and bowl those areas a bit more. So it was something they should have identified pretty early, but unfortunately didn't go out there and execute.
Yeah, and the other guy I was going to say that surprised me bowling-wise at Edgbaston was Mitchell Starc, who, because there's part of me thinking, well, maybe he's not used to the Duke's ball and it's swinging, and but it was like that at Cardiff, and he bowled really well at Cardiff. So, again, can you put your finger on why his performance seemed so under par at Edgbaston?
Yeah, I think just down in confidence.
Okay.
He's the type of bowler. He's a wicket taker, but he's going to go for runs. His consistency, the radar is sometimes not quite switched on, and when you're down on confidence, it's not coming out well. You're not taking the wickets. Then all of a sudden, you start. For him, he was bowling the ball all over the place, and too many four deliveries. He picked up a couple of wickets, but they were more the batsmen got themselves out. But there was too many four deliveries, and sometimes when you're bowling aggressive lines and lengths, you've got to have more of a defensive field. And when you have aggressive field, you've got to bowl a little bit more defensive areas. So I just think he's an attacking bowler. When he's not on, he sprays it wide all over the place. Doesn't have the control yet. And when you're over pitching on a wicket like Edgbaston with aggressive fields, it's easy pickings for guys like Brute and Bell, and that's what happened.
So on those bowlers, would you make a change for Trent Bridge? I guess we've got to presume it'll be a similar sort of wicket, and traditionally Trent Bridge is a similar wicket to Edgbaston. Yeah,
I think they have to make a change.
Okay.
I think this last test at Edgbaston was the first time since the retirement of Ryan Harris where they really missed him.
Good point.
At Cardiff, so be it. It can happen. Lords, they played well on a wicket that wasn't your normal English wicket, but this one here, I think Ryan Harris would have bowled extremely well and probably would have held the attack together. So I think there will be a change. There's been a bit of talk about Peter Siddle coming in. Whether he'll be replaced for come in for Mitchell Starc, or even there's been talk about Josh Hazlewood. So I'm not sure if they're thinking about Pat Cummins. Pat's only played one 4-day match in the last 2.5 years, and that was the other day in Derby. So whether he's up to it, whether they just want someone that can have more control. Peter Siddle can definitely bowl good areas, and he'll bowl there all day. He doesn't have the pace the other guys have, and that's what Darren Lehmann wants to see, that extra pace at sort of mid 140s. But if they want a little bit more control, then I think they have to go for someone like Peter Siddle.
So what would you do?
I was thinking, I'd bring Peter Siddle in for maybe Mitchell Starc.
Okay.
But the way he batted the other day, you nearly want him in the batting lineup, don't you? So, but I think Josh Hazlewood would have to bowl, really turn things around. So there's been a bit of talk that potentially for him too. So either or. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because I thought Josh Hazlewood would have bowled extremely well in the conditions and probably should have. I think just inexperience. Hopefully he learned from it. I wouldn't mind catching up for a chat with him, as well as Craig McDermott. But I think Peter Siddle coming in, maybe for Mitchell Starc.
Mitchell Starc. Okay. Another possible change is, I guess it would be fair to say Adam Voges is under some pressure here. Would you see it that way?
Yeah, big time. Unfortunately for Adam, he's had an incredible season back home, which was the reason he got picked. He's played a lot of cricket over here, but just hasn't clicked, unfortunately. So Australia do have to make a change in the top order. It's too dependent upon their top three batsmen. Whereas England have, very dependent on sort of two of their batsmen plus Moeen coming in at 8. So it's similar there, but once you get past the top 3, it's been a little bit too easy after that. So I think they have to bring in someone. I think Sean Marsh would definitely come in.
Okay. And bat where, do you think?
I would bat him at probably 4.
Okay.
And push Michael Clarke back to 5. He's always preferred 5. His stats at 5 are incredible, and at 4 they're pretty average. So I'd keep the top 3 as they are, and bring Sean Marsh in at 4, Michael Clarke 5, and then off we go. If it's a wicket similar to Edgbaston here, which probably will be, that's the way I would do it. They could probably swap 3 and 4 around, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay. You've mentioned him, Michael Clarke, potentially moving to 5. I don't think anyone anticipates him not playing at Trent Bridge, but he's certainly a man under pressure at the moment. Yeah,
he is, and Australia would never change captain midway through a series, unless a series was over. It's a fairly important game. This one coming up in the whole context of the series and probably Michael's career to a degree too. So he's under a lot of pressure. He said the other day that Australia were only playing with 10 men. He felt he wasn't contributing at all. So he's at least he's being honest and upfront, but you've got to turn it around and start performing. He surprised me when he came back from his back injury. He played 4 games and got injured each game, and I thought, that's it. But he worked hard, so he's got a really good work ethic. He's prepared to do whatever it takes. He got back for the World Cup, and he's been playing ever since. So, but now it depends on form, and being the captain, there's a lot of reliance upon you performing. So it's a big match. Australia need Michael Clarke to perform. I think he'll be back batting 5, which is a position he prefers, and fingers crossed that'll turn things around for him.